Hello and welcome to 360 Sports on Trust TV. Well, it's the weekend and of course this is where the action is. And right here we make sure that you are getting a front row seat to the thick of things. I am Ibrahim Yusuf and it's absolutely wonderful to have you on the show today. Well, today we're going to talk about a lot of things that actually happened in the sporting world, things that will happen and the ones that are currently happening as well. And of course, we are going to make sure that you get nothing but the very best. So we're going to talk about lots of sports, and we're going to talk about golf, we're going to talk about football, and lots of football, of course, and everything in between. But we will start with golf. Nigerian Golf. Now, the Nigerian Golf Federation has actually introduced a new handicap system for players, which seeks to improve the game and how the game is played in Nigeria. How the game is played in Nigeria, so that we can be able to improve golf. We can improve golf and actually how we see it. So that handicap system has been unveiled by the Nigeria Golf Federation, and of course that is the new system that is going to be used going forward. So to talk about this, right here in the studio, I have Joseph Peter, and he's going to help us analyze some of these situations. Now, looking at golf generally in Nigeria, it's not that much popular per se, is that?
It's not very popular.
Yes.
But growing up in Kano, I used to go to golf course, they call it, golf course.
Yeah, golf course.
And I've always known that the game existed. It's being played in the country, but it's not very much hyped like the way football and any other games are hyped. But I believe things start small and grow big. If they put those in charge of the game, the administrators, if they put enough energy, create opportunities for youth, and then they should not isolate the youth, because there's this reputation that golf carries, that it's a game for the high and mighty.
Yes, exactly. Or the elderly rich people.
And the elderly rich people. They in this country may not have the taste for that kind of game. But I feel like if they kind of involve the lower class, maybe a lot of people see it as an opportunity, to do something with their life.
So more inclusion.
Yeah, inclusion comes in, and then it allows the game to kind of boom in the country. I believe that's another way of helping golf.
No, okay, all right. So this new handicap system being introduced by the Nigeria Golf Federation, do you think it will help improve Nigerian golfers and how professional they actually are?
They must have studied it, they must have reviewed it and seen that it will help before they brought it. I am not an expert in golf,
exactly.
But I believe that whatever that is initiated into the system with positivity in my mind, I think that is done to improve the game and make the professionals do better. So I want to believe that is the purpose of that.
All right, new handicap system introduced for golfers in Nigeria. Well, I hope that improves the general overall play and of course puts Nigeria on the map when it comes to golf in the international scene. Now let's move slightly away from golf and talk about the Nigeria Football Federation. And of course, when you talk about the NFL, you start talking about things like the Super Eagles. Who are very dear to us. And there's been some controversy over recently about Jose Pereiro's wages, that a lot of things have been bandied about. He has not been paid, he's owed a lot of money. So NFF came out and clarified the confusion surrounding the coach, and of course urging the media not to make such a meal out of the whole situation. And of course they have everything under control. What do you make of this?
Why doesn't this issue of coach and wages, especially when he's a foreign coach, it doesn't go away? I feel like it doesn't go away. It keeps happening with every foreign coach.
But even indigenous coaches, I know when in the time of Keshi, we had that same problem. I mean, like he said, he was owed money and he was not paid and all that.
It's constant, and a lot of money is being pumped into the glass house. So I wonder what is the problem that most times, there's no smoke without fire. If journalists and the media is saying something, there's something that is not right. If this contract is open to the public, nobody will complain. But like this, not very much is known by the public. which is why some people are suspecting something, and that's why there are rumors that something is actually going. But if they clarify it and they do it good with transparency, then there won't be any case for
Because I remember when Peseiro was about to get hired, a lot of people made some noise about the fact that we don't know the details of his contract.
That is the thing. The details of the contract, whenever Nigeria is hiring or the NFF is hiring a coach, is never known.
Okay.
And that is a problem on its own. Because we see it around the world. So person has been signed since so many years, and years, and these are his wages. And it's plain, it's known. And if that person doesn't get paid and he cries out, everybody knows how much he's owed and how much he has been paid.
Okay.
But with the case of the NFF, it's always not like that. Which kind of fuels the conspiracy theory that there's actually something going on in behind the scene whenever they want to sign, like they short pay, and then they come to the public and maybe give a bogus figure to take what they want to take. It has been a conspiracy that has been out there on the street all along that have known Nigerian football. I don't know which day it's going to go away, but it has to go away someday.
So this brings the issue of transparency now when it comes to how football is actually being run.
Exactly. It brings the issue of transparency because it's a matter of money. When it comes to money and somebody is asking questions and some people are acting fishy, then you know that there is no transparency there. And when a contract is signed and is not signed and done the way it's done all over in the world that we know, is not disclosed, then there's something fishy about it. And they need to come out and show the public, at least give access to the knowledge of the contract of our coaches whenever they hire them. Not just the Super Eagle, I mean all age grades.
Okay.
Yeah, it will help.
All right, so let's digress a little bit from this particular issue now. Let's talk about football administration generally. Let's talk about the NFF. Yeah. Now, lots of allegations, lots of fingers were pointed at the old administration of the NFF about how they ran Nigerian football, how the administration was done. And this could actually be a spillover from that previous administration because they were the ones in charge when this coach was actually hired. Do you have the belief, having been a follower of Nigerian football, do you actually have the belief that this new NFF board now will do things differently than how it was done in the past?
I think they will try to do things differently.
Okay.
Reasons being that because the previous administration hired, gave drew the contract.
Contract, exactly.
This present administration is possibly not they don't appreciate the contract that they have met now.
Okay.
They are possibly not okay with what they have met.
But most of the guys that are in this new board were part of the old administration.
Still, there's a change. The head has been changed.
Okay.
Right now, Diko is the head, and previously it was Pinnick. So he may not be in agreement with whatever that has been signed.
Okay.
Which is why the questions are popping up from nowhere.
Okay.
So I believe that there is probably this intention to do it right, to do better. That is why we are hearing noise from the background. Okay. But whatever it is, time will tell. At the end, the main subject, Peseiro himself, will come out and say something. Either good or bad. Maybe during his coaching period in the country, or after he must have left, then we will hear something. Because it was the same with the last person. So,
but maybe, I don't know if there's a clause actually in his contract. Jose Peseiro is a manager that we really don't hear much from.
I didn't know him until the country hired him to become the coach of the...
And he doesn't say much.
Yeah, he doesn't say much, but eventually he will when it involves his money. He will eventually. Maybe not right now.
Okay.
Or maybe after... I believe he will say something. If he is being treated wrongly or he is owed, he is not paid, he will come out and say something. But if peradventure Peseiro gets to leave as the head coach of this country and no noise is made, nothing happens, nothing comes out, it means something has been corrected or was done right. That's what I believe.
Okay, so finally, before we leave this matter now,
yes, sir.
You made mention of maybe the new administration not being comfortable with what was actually signed by the previous administration of the NFF.
Yeah.
Could we see a renegotiation of those terms?
does a contract that has been signed allows renegotiation?
Well, it depends on what the terms of the contract actually are.
Yeah, but if there are terms, and I sat down with a couple of people and told them these and these and these are what I want, these are my conditions, and they agreed to it, and they represent the country, and we signed. It has been signed, stamped already. I feel like if anything like renegotiation will come up, I have the sole power to reject it and deny it because a contract has been signed already, and the duration of that contract has to time out before another one will come in. I feel when it comes to football contract, I know that there are termination clause and all that. Maybe if the NFF wants to change anything and Peseiro refuses, the only thing they can do is to activate that termination clause, and then if he wants another contract, they draw another one and give it to him.
Well, not knowing the terms of the contract actually leads us to speculation, and we have to fill in the blanks for ourselves. Well, the NFF came out to give their own side of the story concerning the Super Eagles manager and, of course, his wages. Well, we'll keep an eye on that and see how things develop. Well, still talking about the Super Eagles, one thing that we're not going to be doing this year is going to the World Cup. And that is something that has become certain, even though we still haven't come to terms with it. World Cup kicking off in a few weeks, and we're not going to be there. But that doesn't stop the World Cup from going on. There's been lots of controversy since the rights were actually awarded to Qatar about a lot of things concerning how things are being done over there. It's the first World Cup to be held in the Middle East, and of course, lots of talk bandied about human rights violations, freedoms, and all that, and most especially talking about the LGBTQ issue, and of course about workers' rights, because during the building of the stadiums that were actually meant for the World Cup, there were lots of accusations being made about abuses of the workers as well. And FIFA now has deemed it fit to come out and tell teams that they should focus on the tournament, not really focus on the tournament per se, but focus on the football and leave other issues to the other people to actually decide. Now, looking at this World Cup and what has surrounded it, from it being taken to the Middle East, that's number one, from it being shifted from the summer, and all the controversies surrounding workers' rights during building of the stadiums, and now the LGBTQ issue that is being pushed. Do you think the focus has been taken away from the football for a very long time concerning this World Cup, that a lot of people are not even paying attention to it?
Right from the moment the World Cup was moved from June, July, attention was drawn for a kind of a controversy, because it will affect the football league's season. And then coming down to human rights violation, maltreatment of workers, the amount or the number of workers that died. I personally did some research on that, and it actually happened. A lot of people died. It was like a daily something at some point. And then the LGBTQ issue. All these were bound to happen. Not just because the World Cup has been moved from June, July to the summer. That's not just because of that, but because of the location itself. The fact that it's going to
the Middle East.
We all know that the people from the Middle East are conservatives, and they are very, very much, they don't tolerate, there are a lot of things they do not tolerate. And you cannot just go and force things on them. But what I don't understand is how come FIFA took the World Cup to the Middle East, or at least that part of the Middle East. Yeah, because there are times to do things, all right, and there are ways to do things.
But there was a bidding process. I mean, Qatar bidded for it, and they were deemed to be fit to host the World Cup.
I understand that.
And the Middle East is very much part of the world as well, and it has gone everywhere. Why not?
Yes, but at some point, you look at some things.
Eyebrows were raised when it was brought to Africa.
Yeah, but Africa did fine and they did well.
Exactly, so leave Qatar to see whether they're going to do well or not.
But right now, it is not even going on well already. As it is, there are some questions as to whether the captains of the national teams will wear a rainbow, a captain band, a lot of
But it has nothing to do with football. That's what FIFA is actually saying.
Exactly, but the thing with football is not only played on the pitch. There are a lot of things that go around football. You understand? I understand that everything should be left and focused on the field. I cannot change it again. The World Cup it's going to happen in Qatar. But I think it was a mistake. I think it was too early to take it to a place like that, as far as I'm concerned.
A lot of people thought it was early to take it to Africa.
Yeah, and I'm among those people, right? And I don't think that we should have gone there for the World Cup, because it kind of it divides the attention. This is the World Cup, for God's sake. We should all be celebrating and be happy the World Cup is going to happen. Everybody is focused. Unfortunately, Nigeria is not part of it. But at least let's all focus. But right now, a lot of distraction, LGBT this, LGBT
so that's
that.
why I think that is why FIFA is actually writing to the teams and saying, okay, focus on the football and not these issues. Allow these issues to sort themselves out, and let's go there and have fun in the World Cup.
You and I know that the world is not like that anymore. The world will never, ever, ever take their focus from the other things and focus on the football. It's never going to happen. Even during the World Cup, I assure you, issues will come up. Fans, certain fans will go and do some stupid things that is not law-abiding, or that does not go well or go down well with the people in Qatar, and there would be some problems around it. Although the football will not stop, but I assure you, there will be problems, and all of that is on FIFA.
All right. So we're now looking at all these issues happening off the pitch, taking place off the pitch, and all this focus being diverted away from the football itself. Do you think it will impact the quality of play that we will see in this year's World Cup?
At some point, it will. You know, football is all about banter.
Okay.
Some of these things that will happen will be converted into banter, which will kind of create an effect in the teams and the response they might want to give, and it will actually end up making the on-pitch performance, making it more tantalizing than we probably would expect.
Well, don't you think the added spice, or should I say, these things that are around it, might actually make the competition a bit fierce?
Yeah, that is why I said it will cause an effect. And that effect is to make it fierce. And when it's fierce, then it means the competition will be high, and then the performance will be high. And then we, the viewers, will get to enjoy better a game of football.
Okay. All right, let's still talk. Let's still staying on the World Cup issue. We're not going there. Right. We know. We still haven't come to terms with that.
No,
we're still reeling from that. But we've seen other African teams that have qualified now actually going to the World Cup. How far do you think Africans will go in this year's World Cup? Could this be the year we get to the semi-finals? Honestly,
I'll tell you this. The only thing I expect is that usual shock, or that usual upset. A certain African team maybe does to a European or a South American team.
Okay.
That is just what I expect. Nothing above that. And I'm not being pragmatic or negative here.
Okay.
The quality of football that is being played out there, we are nowhere near it. Even if Nigeria had qualified, I'm telling you this, I wouldn't expect much. Semi-final, I don't think so. I would be very, very happy. I would celebrate it if any African team, like say Senegal, makes it to the semi-finals. But I really do not expect it, because there are a host of talent, and the talent that is out there from South America, from Europe, they are just too much for us to handle.
But when you look at these African teams, those players that are playing for these African teams play for the European clubs with all these talents that you're actually talking about, and they're cutting it. So what's going to be the difference if they come and they pull together and play as an African team? You won't be able to cut it when they play as an African nation?
I am an African, and I love Africa to win. But I can tell you that technically we are not there. All
right. So among the qualifiers now, which is Africa's best chance of, let's say, okay, if we're going to make African team, we're going to have an African team in the semi-finals, what is our best chance?
Obviously, it's Senegal.
Okay.
There is no one better than them right now in this continent.
I'm definitely sure you wouldn't have said Ghana.
No, I wouldn't. Okay. I wouldn't have said Ghana, not because I do not like Ghana, but I don't think Ghana have the personnel, the manpower, like the skills and the players to cut it. I do not think so. But I believe Senegal, with the leadership of Mane, though he is kind of tired.
Okay.
Yes, Mane is I think that that performance from last season with Liverpool playing every single game of every competition up to the final.
Okay.
Is the reason why Liverpool are what they are now, and it's also affected Mane. Why? Just check his performance. He himself is not happy with his performance at Bayern Munich as it is.
Okay.
His contribution, he feels, is below par, which is as a result of that tiredness. So I believe that he is not who he was last season, but I think he can still do something with the kind of crop of talent he has around him.
Okay.
All right. If there's anybody, is there any team that is going to make it or do us proud, I expect, at least football-wise, to do us proud in the World Cup, I think I'll put my money on Senegal.
All right, well, putting your money on Senegal, well, you opened the door for to talk about Sadio Mane, so I want to stick with him for a while now. There's this talk about people saying the Sadio Mane and Liverpool's divorce was not supposed to happen, and that is why both of them are currently suffering right now. Sadio Mane not doing exactly what he wants to do in the Bundesliga with Bayern Munich, and Liverpool actually wallowing in the wilderness of the Premier League at the moment.
Yeah.
So do you think it's a question of them being better together?
No.
Okay.
I totally disagree. Reason being that I've told you the problem of Liverpool. And the same thing that is happening to Liverpool is what's happening to Mane.
Okay.
You know, they are humans, these players. They are not machines. I feel like the Liverpool players kind of have a depleted battery. They are tired. Honestly, it's not easy to play every single of the game of the season in every single competition up to the finals. We are talking about humans for here. And then look at the age grade of the midfield of Liverpool. Looking at Fabinho, looking at Alcantara, looking at Henderson, looking at Keita. They are all kind of at the end of their peak, so to say. So what I think happened was that Liverpool made a mistake when it down to transfer.
Okay.
I feel like, yeah, they made the mistake. That 100 thereabout they took and they bought Nunes for. Nunes is a great player. I'm not playing him down in any way.
Okay.
I think it would have they would have used it to do a 50-50, like a 50 million striker and probably a 50 million naira midfielder, a $50 million midfielder. It would have served them right. It would have done better for them right now, because the players, if you look at them, injury, one goes to injury, at the moment the other is coming back, another one is going, getting injured again. So it has been series of injuries, and it's not because it's not coincidence.
Okay.
It's not coincidence. It's definitely the previous season that is taking a toll on them. That's what is happening to Liverpool. If Mane was around, yes, they would have scored a little more goals.
Okay.
Yeah, they would be more formidable than they are, but they won't be where they used to be last season. That is why it's even showing in Mane himself wherever he is right now.
Okay. All right. So you believe Liverpool got the recruitment wrong for that?
Sir?
Recruitment in Liverpool.
Yeah, I think the recruitment was wrong.
All right. Well, getting the recruitment wrong, that is something that Liverpool needs to look at if they are to get back to where they are supposed to get. Well, I was talking about the FIFA World Cup, and of course what FIFA is talking about. Let's leave other issues out of it and focus on the football, so that people like us who are now neutrals by force, since we're not going to the World Cup, will actually have an enjoyable tournament that we can actually watch at home and enjoy as well. Something that actually raised a lot of eyebrows when the World Cup was moved from the summer to winter was how it was going to affect the season and how players were going to be affected by it. And we have seen now a rash of players that are getting injured and will not be making it to the World Cup, and is putting a serious dampener on it. The latest that we actually heard is Timo Werner, the German international, is going to miss the World Cup due to an ankle injury. I mean, like, we have those that are doubtful. We have the Chilwells that are actually doubtful for it. We have the Pogbas that are already out. We have the Son Heung-mins that are actually doubtful for it. How bad is this for the World Cup if we're losing all these players prior to the World Cup being played? And if these guys are not there, will it affect the quality of football that we see?
It reduces the prestige, of course. It's obvious. It reduces the prestige of the competition. There's no Pogba in France. There's no Timo Werner. There is no James Reese. There's no Ben Chilwell. All those players are out of the World Cup. And it doesn't do the World Cup any good. That's why I said I'm not okay with that movement from the summer to the winter. If it was the summer, players may have just finished their season, would have rested, and would have competed in the World Cup, and it would have had a full skilled World Cup. But anyway, they say one closed door opens another door. Maybe the fact that we're not going to see these stars in the World Cup would open door for other stars to emanate. I would use that word for other stars to come out, and new stars that we do not know about will probably take this chance and make a name for themselves. But really, it's not good, because it doesn't do the World Cup any good, and it doesn't do the teams good either.
So as a player, how bad is this for Timo now? Because he seems to be on the road to redemption. He went to Chelsea, didn't really work out, he cut his losses, came back to the Bundesliga, and he seems to have been finding his feet, and a lot of people thought the World Cup would have been an opportunity for him to make a splash and, of course, clear all those doubts and show the doubters that it really wasn't him that wasn't working at Chelsea, and it was something else. How bad do you think this is for him as a player, as a professional?
I think it depends on how he looks at it.
Okay.
He was a professional with Leipzig, left and went to Chelsea, and it was a bit ups and downs, and now he went back and it's been really great. Now the World Cup is coming and he's injured. He will not be part of the World Cup. But let him look at it like this. This is the time for him to have his rest, recover, and then switch on again when the season returns and do very, very well. That's another way of redemption, as far as I'm concerned. It doesn't have to be the World Cup. Your redemption must not come from the World Cup. If it's coming from the World Cup, then a lot of players that are going to miss it, what happens to them? And what if you are not selected for the World Cup? I mean, so I feel if I were him now, I'll look at it positively. Okay, I'm supposed to play the World Cup. I've been doing well. I'm supposed to go and play.
Exactly. I think that is what hurts more, because you said, you just made mention of what if a person wasn't selected for the World Cup. Not being selected for the World Cup, being fit and not being selected for the World Cup is actually just telling you that you're not good enough. But he knows he's actually good enough, and he will probably make that list if he were fit. Don't you think that will hurt even the more?
But going back to when he was at Chelsea, it's not as if he was snubbed from the German national team anyway. He was part of the German national team often. So the fact that he is injured now and he is not going to the World Cup, yes, it may not be good. But as far as I'm concerned, it's just not redemption. With Timo Werner, we've all known him with the national team. We've known him at Chelsea. We've known him at Leipzig. All he needs to do is to, I think, initiate consistency in his game. That's the only thing Timo Werner lacks. Because even at Chelsea, there are some games he just pops up and he does wonders. And there are other games he becomes quiet and it's like he's missing. I feel like what Timo Werner needs is not the World Cup. What he needs is consistency with his performance, and he will be fine with his career.
But I mean, it's the World Cup we're talking about. This is the grandest stage for every professional footballer. Everyone that actually prides himself as being a professional footballer looks forward to the day that he will don the jersey of his national team and step out at that world stage. And for maybe someone like Timo, he's feeling that right now that he's in the form that is required for him to actually get to the World Cup, it could actually be his last chance to make it.
Trust me, I understand you. I understand the prestige of a player playing for the World Cup, but he is injured now. He's not. I don't expect him to just fold and sulk. You look ahead. You plan ahead. You convert the negativity to a positivity for yourself. As a professional, that's what I would do. Okay. I am not going to be in the World Cup. I would love to be in the World Cup, but I'm not going to be in the World Cup. But then, looking at it, there are still some people that doubt me. What is missing in my game? Consistency. Fine, I'll get that, and I'll move on with my life. Simple.
All right. Well, still staying with the World Cup now, but let's expand it. Let's leave Timo for a while and talk about the World Cup generally before we move on. We're starting in a few weeks, and we all know who's going and who's not going. I mean, as the countries now, and we know some of the strengths and some of the weaknesses. I did ask you about African nations and how well you think they might do. So right now, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Yes. Where do you think this World Cup is going? Could it finally be Messi's World Cup?
If I put my money on who would win the World Cup, I'll put it on Brazil or Argentina, but I've not really decided.
Okay.
But I think it's going to the South Americans.
Okay.
Right now, the English have huge talent, but they are not using it rightly. The French has talent, massive talent, but there is no cohesion, no kind of. They are just not. There's something missing. I don't think it's the coaching. I don't think it's the coaching. I think they just don't want it that much.
How about the Germans?
The Germans are present right now. They are not who they used to be.
The Spanish are there as well.
The Spanish are too young to win the World Cup. They don't have much experience.
And the Dutch seem to be on the rise.
The Dutch are only on the rise, but they are not there yet. So if you look at total experience and skills and talent, I think it either goes to Brazil or it goes to Argentina.
You believe Argentina has what it takes to win the World Cup?
Yeah, I believe very, very much.
And it's not just about Messi?
It's not just about Messi.
Okay.
We have other stars, lots of them. Rodrigo de Pauls in the midfield. We have too many. The Inter striker. They have talent. They don't just have talent. They have experienced talent. So that's why I really consider them to win the World Cup.
All right. Well, strong words there coming in from Joseph right here in the studio, saying that he believes the World Cup is going to South America, either Brazil or Argentina. Who knows? We might have a Brazil-Argentina final, and well, if he's a betting man, then that is something that he will put his money on. Well, right now, as I said earlier, this is the weekend, and of course the weekend comes with loads and loads of action when it comes to football, and of course that's where leagues are going to get into full swing of things. And we have packed weekend as well when it comes to fixtures. Let's start looking at the fixtures for this weekend with the English Premier League. Loads of games are actually going to be played in the EPL this weekend, and of course we have some mouth-watering clashes as well to look forward to when it comes to the English Premier League this weekend. And of course, the headline clash is actually Arsenal and going against Liverpool. Again against Chelsea, which is a serious London derby and has generated so much controversy already before the game is actually played. Before we talk about that, now let's look at the fixtures for this weekend. Leeds United are hosting Bournemouth. Manchester City hosts Fulham. Brentford taking on Nottingham Forest. Brighton looking to continue their good form after the fantastic outing last week, taking on Wolves. Everton welcome Leicester City. Chelsea, Arsenal that we just alluded to. Aston Villa under new management trying to take on Manchester United and see what they can do about that. Southampton, Newcastle, West Ham United, Crystal Palace, London derby there, and of course Tottenham taking on Liverpool. Well, apart from apart from Arsenal, Chelsea, and maybe Tottenham, Liverpool, what other fixture stands out for you?
Yeah, I'm looking at the fixtures, and I think the one that stands out for me is this West Ham against Crystal Palace. They are two tough sides, well coached, and although West Ham started slowly, but they are picking up, and Crystal Palace actually, aside the first game, they were doing very well, and then they kind of went they sloped down, and then they are picking up now, and they are not really picking the points that they should pick the way they should, but they are not exactly down either. I think it's going to be a very highly contested match.
And it's a derby as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a highly contested match. I do not know, that's the only match I look at, and I do not kind of have anything in my head as to what will be the outcome. I just want to see what will happen.
All right. Well, Aston Villa fired Steven Gerrard, and the game immediately after that, they came out like a house on fire and blew away the opposition. Do you think they can continue that momentum against Manchester United?
I really do not think they can continue because Manchester United is also on fire right now. They are trying, although they are not scoring enough goals. They are not scoring goals. And by the way, playing Maguire as a striker will not help them in any way to score more goals. But I think they would win the match against Aston Villa. But you know, there's this thing about a match between a particular team and another team that just hired a new coach. There's this new coach effect that sometimes happen, a lot of times happen, and causes upsets. Unai Emery is a very, very good coach. He has had his stint with Arsenal before that didn't go down really well as planned, but he has won trophies in Europe, and he's a great coach. And I believe he has something to offer with Aston Villa. Whether he has the players and the commitment of those players to do that is another thing entirely. Whether he can conquer the problem he had at Arsenal, which is that of communication with this current Aston Villa team, is yet to be seen. But we could actually see an upset today. But I do not expect it. I'm just saying it happens often.
All right. All right. So you're saying Aston Villa has gotten their man now, because lots of fanfare greeted Gerrard when he came onto the scene. Lots of people thought that he was going to be the one to take Aston Villa to the next level. But so do you think Unai Emery is that man now for Aston Villa?
I think it depends. You know, when you hire a coach, at least football has changed from that carrot and stick approach of hire a coach and do well. It's about hiring a coach, giving him time to, group his players. And then
so now it depends on the project.
Yeah, it depends on the project. I believe they have to give him time. They gave Steven Gerrard a bit of time, but he signed players. Players that were supposed to be his players. But then there was no result. I believe that's why they had to let him go. Unai Emery just came in. They have to give him that time. So it can't be, okay, come in, do this. This is Aston Villa we're talking about. They have to give him time.
All right. Well, they have to give him time. While talking about time, we've skirted this for a very long time. Chelsea Arsenal. It's going to be an absolute blockbuster. On paper, it's absolutely fantastic. Now, these are two teams that, most especially Arsenal on the up now, and there's lots of belief amongst the Arsenal fan base this season. And do you think that will be a factor, even though this is a derby and we know derbies don't go according to form?
Thank you very much. I like that you mentioned that, because when it comes to derby, it doesn't matter who's in form. It doesn't matter who is doing this, who is doing that. It's all down to, I think derbies most times are down to the venue, the crowd, and then the character.
Well, this is at Stamford Bridge.
So. This one is at Stamford Bridge, so and they will be loud. But the past 3-4 matches, Arsenal have won against Chelsea. But I feel like that also has nothing to do with the game. Yes. Well, all that will happen in that game will be down to the technical side and then the depth.
Okay, so we're talking about Graham Potter now on one side,
and Arteta
and Mikel Arteta
on the other. Graham Potter has been making mistakes when putting out his team. He did that against Brighton, playing Sterling as a wing back when Chilwell is on the bench.
Didn't work out.
I think he needs to stop that and come back to the basics. When you are playing against an Arsenal team, the current Arsenal team that are pumped with skills and intrigue and whatever that comes with it, and strength and all that of Gabriel Jesus and Martinelli, the tricks and all that of Saka, you need to sit back, relax, defend, do your basics, stop them from scoring, defend the first half, very, very important, and then go all out to attack. I think that's what he needs to do, and he must not make the mistake of bringing in Sterling as a wing back today. But I feel like he has no option right now, because I'm hearing rumors that Ben Chilwell is injured.
He's out, So
if that be the case, he needs to pack his defense. With 5 men. Defend and then maybe take Arsenal on the counter. You know, one good thing with the Chelsea team, although they don't have a striker that, let's say, Aubameyang is not really cutting it every game, every goal kind of. But you always find out that Mason Mount or Kai Havertz will sometimes pull something out of the bag. I believe that is the only threat.
Okay.
Because you can't, yeah, there's this raft between Aubameyang and Arteta, and Auba may have something to want to prove.
Yeah, because that was going to be my next question. I mean, like, do you think Aubameyang will be a factor when it comes to this game? Because I think he has a lot to prove, and he has said a lot of things as well.
If Aubameyang gets a chance today, you can bet on me that he will not miss in that match. But will he get the chance? Because Aubameyang was playing for Arsenal. We all know that he's so inconsequential without the ball.
Okay.
Right now, Arsenal's defense is very, very good. All they need to do is to stop Aubameyang from getting the ball. Okay. And he will be silenced. Because he's not the kind of player that would
come in deep,
chase the ball, come in deep, take the ball for himself and do something with it. If you deny him the ball, he becomes nothing.
All right. Well, whatever happens on that game, we absolutely know it's going to be a cracker. Well, another one that jumps out is Tottenham-Liverpool finally before we leave the EPL. Can you call that one?
Yeah, but the pragmatism of Conte is too much.
Okay. Well, Liverpool are not fantastic.
Liverpool are not, exactly. That's what I was going to go to. I was going to say, okay, but Liverpool are not fantastic these days to make use of that opportunity. And then there's something with Tottenham. They are not good first half, and the second half
they explode.
And they explode, and they do wonders. I don't know. I feel like this game, we'll just wait and see the outcome of that game.
Right.
Because right now, nobody can bank on Liverpool to do something when Tottenham pack the bus.
Pack the bus, okay.
So, I don't know.
All right, well, that's the game that we cannot call. A lot of those games that we can actually call as well. But one thing we can call is that we know that we are in for an action-packed weekend as far as the Premier League is concerned. Lots of games to be played, lots of games to put our eyes on, and of course, all the excitement is there. Well, from the EPL, we'll take a look at Spain. Of course, the La Liga action is going to come up this weekend as well. Getafe hosts Cadiz, Valladolid hosting Elche. Osasuna will travel to Celta de Vigo. Almeria will go to the Camp Nou to face Barcelona. Atletico Madrid, smarting from their exit from Europe, host Espanyol. Real Sociedad on a high from topping their own Europa League group, host Valencia, and Villarreal taking on Real Mallorca. Betis and Sevilla, an absolute cracker. That is actually a derby, and that is, I think, one of the games of the week when it comes to the Spanish La Liga.
Yeah, Betis and Sevilla is a derby. But right now, Sevilla is not really doing well. Sevilla kind of changed their players within 2 seasons. The players that were there the past 2 seasons, none of them is available. So it has affected them when it comes to fluidity of their game. Okay. But if you look at Real Betis has been improving match after match after match. They just won their last game now in the Europa Cup, and I believe that they will see this as an opportunity to actually smash their rivals.
But we just talked about derbies right now, and we say they don't go according to form, and especially when you're talking about this, the derby of Seville, it's absolutely unpredictable. It has never gone according to script.
Why I believe so is because when it comes to derbies, there are players that understand derbies. Okay. There are players that have been there, they've experienced the pain of losing and the joy of winning. Okay. And because Sevilla have not kept those players, these players, it's just another game to them. Yes, you tell them they know it's derby, but in their head it's not really the derby that it should be.
They carry it in their heads, but not in their hearts.
Yes. So I believe, while Betis have their players from 5 seasons back, and they would really hurt Sevilla today. I believe so.
All right. Well, aside from that, are we expecting any firecrackers as well? I mean, Real Sociedad, Valencia. I mean, like, these are 2 teams that are,
Valencia are not really. They are not really dangerous this season. They've lost their past 4 games or so. They've not been doing well. And it has not really been going well for, what's his name, Gattuso. Yeah, so I don't think they are much of a threat. Although Sociedad are having a couple of injuries. But even at that, they are trying to be there. So I don't expect Valencia to go away with any point in that game. I do not.
All right. Well, we're talking about the big boys now. Barcelona, Atletico Madrid. Barcelona taking on Almeria, Atletico Madrid hosting Espanyol. Do you expect any surprises?
Atletico Madrid are known, and they are not the big boys anymore.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, whatever they are playing on the pitch is old-fashioned. And I don't think Simeone will get that contract after the season. The contract he expects, I don't think he will get it. They have been performing awfully, and I don't think they are playing for the coach anymore. If you look at the body language between João Felix and Simeone, you know that something is definitely wrong. Though they have talent, but I feel like he's not passing the right information to them. I totally put this thing that is happening to Atletico on Simeone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think he's supposed to his team has stayed beyond his time?
Yeah.
He was supposed to have left when the ovation was high, probably after those back-to-back Champions League finals.
But even if you don't leave, you kind of change your grade. You can't send players out to play the kind of game they are playing and kicking everywhere and the pressing.
Because he seems to have taken Atletico Madrid to where he, as far as he can. He has taken them to Champions League finals. He has won the La Liga title,
he's won the UEFA Cup.
And so there doesn't seem anywhere for him to go. But he is actually one of, if not the highest paid manager in European football.
And he is a good manager too. I must tell you, he's a good manager to have done.
So you
what
think
he
he can
has
cut
done.
it elsewhere?
I think he can cut it elsewhere. But I think if he goes elsewhere, he should kind of not use the same methods he is using right now. He needs to change. Why? Because wherever he's going to, I don't think there is any football club in the world that would entertain the kind of football Atletico Madrid is playing now. Nobody will appreciate it. So he has to apply new methods. And as for today, I think they would play to save face because of the performance, the awful performance they gave against Porto. If they don't, I assure you that there will be problem in the Metropolitano.
All right. What about Barcelona? Did they have anything to prove to the Camp Nou faithful?
Barcelona will see this as a chance to close up and maybe create some distance between them and Madrid. But Almeria has not really been bad away. They kind of get some goals and all that. But I think Barcelona would conquer. They would win this game. The game which concerns me is the game between Real Madrid and Rayo Vallecano. That is a derby match also. And although Rayo has not really been picking point against Madrid on that in their home turf like that, but I feel like the absence of Benzema could actually haunt them. But then Madrid have enough talent. They just seems to know how to do it every time you think they can't.
And of course, they have a Carlo Ancelotti on the bench, which makes all the difference.
And then there's something that's happening recently that I've noticed. Asensio seems to be doing things easily when he comes on. So I believe with that, they should be able to conquer Rayo Vallecano, but that is a tricky match. Trust me, it's a tricky match.
All right, so let's stay with Real Madrid for a little bit before we move on from the La Liga. I mean, like, how good have they been this season? And is it just Benzema?
It's not just Benzema. It's also Vinicius, it's also Rodrigo, it's also Valverde. Now I mentioned Asensio. They just seem to have this thing in them. I don't know if it's the JC or something, but Madrid, you look at Madrid and you feel like they are just this ordinary teams that do things simply. They just make things winning. It's just simple to them. They just make it happen. I don't understand how they do it, but and sometimes personally I underrate their talent because I do not see a fantastic player in Madrid. I would say, okay, this one, he wows me, aside Vinicius with his tricks and all that, and then the goals of Benzema. But aside those two, who would you pick out and say, okay, this person is? Because if you begin to mention...
So you're not impressed with all the young talent that they have, the Camavingas, the Tchouaménis?
No. They are, as far as I'm concerned, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, they are average players.
The Rodrigo.
They are average players in a great team. So therefore, you won't see all their shortcomings and their fallings because they are in a great team.
And they have a great manager.
They have a great manager, so that's basically what's happening.
All right, finally now, the final question on Real Madrid and La Liga as well. Can Barcelona stop them this season?
Barcelona cannot go near them this season.
All right, that is categorical. You don't need to go any further. I mean, like, that is as categorical as it gets. Real Madrid cannot be stopped. Barcelona can't do anything to stop them, according to Joseph right here in the studio. All right, so let's move on and look at matches that are coming up in the Italian Serie A. Been on a high, I think, recently with recent results in Europe. Most of their teams actually doing very well. So I think the Italian Serie A is making a comeback. That's what some people actually believe. Empoli hosting Sassuolo, Salernitana playing Cremonese, Atalanta and Napoli, an absolute cracker there. A top of the table clash when it comes to the Italian Serie A. Milan hosting Spezia, Bologna hosts Torino, Verona travel to Monza, and Fiorentina Sampdoria play it out. Roma Lazio, Rome derby coming up, and of course the Derby d'Italia, that is Juventus Inter Milan. Lots of crackers out there in the Italian Serie A. Which one should we take first? I mean, like, there are lots of tasty matches there.
I was looking at Atlanta. I was looking at Atlanta Napoli, and in my mind I asked myself, can Napoli pull this one? And I said no.
Okay.
They are scoring goals.
Yeah.
Atlanta are good. Atlanta are so good. I do not think Napoli will just go to that stadium and score goals.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a draw game.
Really?
I really believe it's going to be a draw game because Atlanta are also doing fantastic.
Yeah.
They may not be up there scoring the amount of goals Napoli is scoring, but they're also good defensively.
Yeah, but
I
was actually hearing someone make an analysis a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, the Napoli of today actually reminded him of the Atalanta of like 2 or 3 seasons ago, where they were scoring goals for fun, scoring from different departments of the field, and outscoring everyone in the Serie A as well. But right now they seem to be they went on a little hiatus for like a season or so, but now they seem to be back. So Atalanta is also a force to be reckoned with, despite the form Napoli is currently on right now.
Yeah, Atalanta is a force to reckon with. Atalanta may not be scoring enough goals, like I said, but they are winning important matches, and they are picking important points. And because of the venue, I don't think Napoli will just go to that stadium and steal away the 3 points.
It won't be a walk in the park.
The worst that can happen to Atlanta would be points shared.
Okay. Well, we heard that the Georgian sensation, Kvaratskhelia, might not actually play in that match. Will that be a difference? Will that make a difference for Atalanta?
Of course, it will make a difference. We all know how much he has been performing, the amount of goals he has been scoring. So if somebody like him is taken away, I feel like a piece of the game has been taken away, like a piece of performance from that game.
But you have the likes of Victor Osimhen, who can actually make a fantastic, like coming off his performance last week. Has
he scored enough goals? Has he scored goals more than Kvaratskhelia? That is difficult to call.
Okay.
No, I don't think. I think the other player has more goals than Victor Osimhen, and his contribution has been a bit higher than Victor Osimhen. Osimhen has been there too, but I feel that other player it would have been better. It would have made Napoli more stronger if he was playing.
All right. Well, let's talk about the last 2 derbies now. Okay, let's talk about the Rome derby, Lazio Roma, and Juventus Inter. Can you call this Lazio Roma?
Lazio Roma is they are not really there. Roma are not really there. Okay. They won their Europa Cup game after they were trailing, and they turned it around. And the Mourinho effect is there, but I don't think.
So they can't hold.
Yeah, if you look at their gameplay, the fluidity is not there.
All right. So you're giving that to Lazio?
I'm not giving it to Lazio per se, but I think Lazio can steal it or a draw.
All right. Inter Juventus now. Derby d'Italia.
Juve believe that after what they played against, after the performance they gave against PSG, they believe that they
can actually make it.
That they are coming up, that they are improving. Yeah, I kind of saw an improvement, more hunger in the Juve team, and actually I would credit that to the younger players, Miretti and the other one, Fagioli or something like that.
Exactly.
I think they were the ones that kind of stood out in that game.
So youth is the way to go for Juventus now?
I may not go for Juventus, but I would settle for a draw also. I don't want to pick a side because right now Inter are not exactly fantastic as they were.
All right, we'll have to keep our eyes on that and see how it goes. Quickly, let's go through the Bundesliga and look at the matches that are coming up this weekend. Of course, we have Mainz hosting Wolfsburg, Borussia Dortmund playing Bochum, Augsburg, Eintracht Frankfurt, Hertha Berlin, Bayern Munich, Hoffenheim, RB Leipzig, and of course Werder Bremen, Schalke 04. Well, these are the games coming up in the Bundesliga, and we all know how the Bundesliga is actually quite unpredictable. You just have to wait for those games to be played to find out exactly what's going to happen. But the only thing that you can actually put your money on is Bayern winning.
Yeah. Maybe you can put your money on Bayern winning. Then when you put your money on Bayern winning, they choose to make it that week, the week they will lose.
That is when they choose.
That's when they choose
to lose.
Just look at the game, the previous week, the game between Union Berlin and Bochum. Everybody was expecting Union Berlin to actually, but look at what happened. It turned out that they lost. Okay. Now the same game is coming between Dortmund and Bochum. Now, would you go and confidently say where Dortmund would win? These are the kind of games that Dortmund would easily also lose for you.
Sure. All right, well, that's absolutely amazing. It's been fantastic right here on 360 Sports, talking football, golf, and everything in between. Joseph Peter, thank you very much for coming on the show today. It's been a pleasure having you as well. As it has been a pleasure bringing you 360 Sports from Trust TV all day, every day. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Enjoy the rest of your day.